Nikola Jokic is one of the most fascinating players in the NBA. Due to his outstanding performances, his name is often brought up in basketball conversations, and we have his game analyzed and criticized by NBA analysts all the time. It's a common thing to hear an NBA legend drop their impressions for any player, even if they're not analysts. Being someone as good as Jokic is, you get talked about very often, but it's much rarer to hear about him talk about some retired NBA greats. Let's see what the Jokers had to say about some of these retired NBA legends. Shaquille O'Neal is one of the most dominating players in NBA history due to his size and strength alone. Had a soft touch around the rim and a high basketball IQ, and you have one of the greatest players of all time. Shaq's very knowledgeable about the game of basketball, and he naturally converted into an analyst role after his playing days were over. Shaq is one that likes to joke around, so his relationship with the Joker, besides having major respect for one another, is based on friendship, but a lot of roasting as well. In an interview for TNT, Jokic was asked how would Shaq match up against Jokic, to which the Joker replied, "You can't guard me." All jokes aside, he was a great player and he was obviously very big. When I first saw him after the USA vs. World All-Star game in New Orleans, he was like a mountain. He's very big and I've seen a lot of clips of him dominating in the paint. He's great, but he can't guard me. After Jokic passed Wilt Chamberlain for most triple-doubles by a center, in the post-game interview he got his congratulations from the Inside the NBA crew. Jokic thanked them but remained curious. Thank you. Where's Shaq in that list? Is Shaq in that list?" Shaq had the perfect reply though. "No, because I never passed, big homie." After that, Shaq asked Jokic if he ever thought he was going to become the best big man ever while he was growing up in Serbia, to which Jokic showed his respect for Shaq with the reply, "No, because you were always there." I don't know if I could match that. The two legends have a great relationship and tons of respect for each other, always giving us some funny moments. It's great to see them on TV. Jokic is already one of the greatest players in Denver Nuggets history, and he may not stop until he achieves the ultimate franchise legend status. The two-time MVP is on a Tim Duncan-like trajectory in terms of spending his entire career with one team. I want to be the Tim Duncan of the Denver Nuggets, but to do that, I need to win a couple of championships as well. In terms of loyalty, Jokic has spent his 8-year career in the Mile High City, and in 2022, he signed a historic 5-year extension with the Nuggets. But in terms of championships, he's lacking behind Duncan's 5, who already had 3 championships by the end of his 8th season in the league. When talking about career legacy, Dirk Nowitzki is probably a better benchmark for the Joker. Nowitzki won his only championship with the Mavericks in 2011, but that basically granted him a sainthood in the city of Dallas. For Jokic, bringing Denver their first NBA title would probably have the same effect. In terms of playstyle, Jokic's game is more similar to Dirk's in terms of how they both score their points, but also are pretty big liabilities on the defensive end. That was no case with Duncan, who is considered to be one of the greatest defenders in NBA history despite never winning the Defensive Player of the Year award. But in terms of respect, Jokic has as much respect for Dirk as he does for Duncan. He's one of the few guys that was playing for one team their whole life. He won the title. He won a ring. I really admire him just because of that. He didn't quit because he didn't abandon the team. Basketball-wise, he was really like a killer. He had that instinct. He could give you 40, 50. He was unstoppable. He was unique, not something that you can copy. The best European scorer ever. Regardless of which player's legacy will be more similar to Jokic's, the Joker's career is going to be something to behold. 1 decade prior to Jokic's number 15 jersey, the Nuggets hoped for the best in another player that wore the number 15. Carmelo Anthony was drafted with the 3rd overall pick in a stacked 2003 draft class. Melo was expected to deliver quickly, and so he did. He had an amazing run as a Nugget, but never managed to get past the Western Conference Finals with the team. He later got traded to the Knicks in 2011 after 8 years as a Denver Nugget. He's still a Nuggets legend, but as the legend of Nikola Jokic grows, so does the question of which number 15 to retire appears. Despite having a more successful run as a Denver Nugget, Jokic still stays humble and shows love to the recently retired Anthony. It all started with him. He had a huge impact here, especially because he was leading the team to the playoffs. He had an impact with this team, of course, and the people of Denver. Even after his retirement, NBA legend Kobe Bryant kept his foot in the basketball court, becoming a mentor to players and making frequent appearances in the media. In 2019, Bryant created the Mamba Mentality Challenge, in which he would give out specific challenges to stars around the league. Kobe challenged players who, in his opinion, had what it takes to achieve the milestone. Being talented wasn't enough, you had to work your way to the top. One of the challenges was directed to Nikola Jokic himself. Bryant challenged the Joker to win MVP, and we have to give credit where it's due because 2 seasons later, Jokic won his first MVP award almost unanimously. Unfortunately, Kobe wasn't able to see this because of his unfortunate death in a helicopter crash. The Joker was one of the first ones that had to play after the tragedy occurred, and he paid his respects for Kobe after the game. I couldn't believe it. He's not just a legend here, he's a legend across the world. We lost a huge person, a role model. It's a great loss for everybody. When you think about Kobe, it's just no excuses. Nothing can put your mind off of what you love to do. Rest in peace to the great Kobe Bryant. You're greatly missed. LeBron James was one of the Joker's biggest idols growing up. Fast forward to 2023, LeBron's the all-time leading scorer, and Jokic just swept his Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. LeBron has a great amount of respect for the Joker, and so does Jokic for the King. LeBron's been playing at the highest level for 20 years now, and even Jokic knows how hard that is to accomplish. If you want an idol, he's somebody that you can look up to because he's always in shape, always leading the team, playing consistently for 20 years, winning championships and MVPs. The King is definitely a great role model for many, and the Joker knows it. The NBA regular season MVP award was renamed at the start of the 2022-23 season to the Michael Jordan Trophy. Of course, this is to honor the legend of Michael Jordan, who's often considered to be the NBA's greatest player of all time. Jokic, as a two-time consecutive MVP winner, was asked about what his thoughts were on the change of the name. It's great, it's unique. At the end of the season, it's not going to be that unique. It's going to be an honor to be the first one to win it. The Joker later added what MJ meant to him. Greatness, probably. One word, greatness. The Joker has tons of respect for Michael Jordan, and he made it really clear and obvious. From one almost unanimous NBA MVP to a unanimous NBA MVP, Nikola Jokic has tons of respect for Stephen Curry and has said on numerous occasions that Steph is one of his favorite players to watch. On who the NBA's most impressive player is, Jokic, who's fairly impressive himself, said, "For sure it's Steph Curry." I say that to pretty much everyone. If you don't like watching him play, you probably don't like watching basketball as a sport altogether. He plays in such a lucid way. I sometimes catch myself thinking, look at what this guy's doing. But my god, his shots just keep falling. He pulls up from such distance, I feel like my shots wouldn't even reach from that far away. I'm sure that Steph feels the same way about Jokic's game as well. Game recognizes game. Despite being a 7-foot-tall man, Nikola Jokic is regarded as one of the best passers in NBA history. Jokic has had multiple games where he's recorded more than 15 assists, something that even point guards have struggles to accomplish. His career high is 18 assists, which is third most for a center, only behind Wilt Chamberlain's 21 and 19 assists games. Jokic has 7 of the top 10 performances in terms of assists in a game by a center, which is outstanding. He's often considered to be like a Magic Johnson for centers because of his passing abilities. Being compared to Magic Johnson is a huge honor, especially for Nikola Jokic, who has tons of respect for the Lakers legend. Despite never having said anything directly about Magic, the Joker showcased his respect for the great point guard by bringing up an old quote from him. When asked whether he likes to score or pass more, Jokic said, "Passing makes 2 people happy at the same time. Scoring makes only 1 person happy." On the other hand, Magic is rarely kept quiet when it comes to praising Nikola Jokic. With the Nuggets sweeping the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, with Nikola Jokic leading the way with a triple-double average of 27 points, 14.7 rebounds, and 11.3 assists, the Joker deservingly won the Irvin Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP. His performance was once again praised by the Magic Man, who tweeted his congratulations for Nikola by comparing him to the all-time greats of the game of basketball. The Joker's changing the game of basketball right before our very eyes, much like Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Shaquille O'Neal. With the Nuggets beating the odds in all 3 rounds so far, they're only 4 wins away from their first NBA championship. By winning Denver their first NBA title, Jokic's legacy will for sure be cemented as one of the greatest players in NBA history. Nikola Jokic's legend grows day by day, and we're witnessing it live. Such a talented and outstanding player, yet so humble, the Joker's quickly turned into a fan favorite. If he manages to bring Denver a championship, he will for sure go down as one of the all-time NBA greats. We're witnessing history, so let's enjoy it as much as we possibly can.